Yeah, and we are live. Hey, greetings everybody. It's Wesley Pepper. This is the Art Laser podcast. This is episode 110. And if you're based anywhere in the Anglo-Saxon world, this is the Easter long weekend. So if you're into all of that, happy Easter and so forth. You guys can tell that I'm not in the studio today. I'm actually at my sister's place in Bloemfontein. Spending a long weekend with them. So it actually feels a bit strange not having the background. But yeah, everybody, just a few more things. Thanks to Sinalo and Tune for last week's episode. That's definitely something I want to be doing a little bit more this year because, guys, as you know, that the Gallery 360 Africa's app, or maybe you just don't know, but I want to tell you that the app is done. We are having a soft launch on the which I think will be the 17th of this month, which is going to be fantastic. So Sinalo and other artists like my guest today as well. I'd like to feature more of them on my and I'm going to explain to you guys a bit more how the process is behind, how it will be working, and our way forward. So exciting times. I think I'll probably do a full episode just on the app, most probably in the next few weeks. And I'm also going to be doing a few more episodes on artificial intelligence and the arts. It's just something I've identified, which I think is pretty important, and it's a serious game changer in our industry. So I'm actually, so if there's anybody listening to this also, I think has something to add, because I've been asking a bunch of guys about it. People seem a bit very apprehensive and maybe they don't know enough information about it. But I have been looking for more, let me say, call them experts to talk to. And yeah, I look forward to that. So that's something we'll be covering throughout 2023. And hopefully it'll sort of ease the burden of, because this is a game changer, guys, as we all know. So yeah, that's for the monologue. I've got a very special guest today. I met, I think it was in 2016, long time ago, all the way from the island of Seychelles. I'm speaking to Mala Rama today. She's she does these lovely paintings on the island and we're going to be discussing both the processes and her business. I know she's I know she's a multi-artist as well. So Mala, first and foremost, now welcome and good morning. And how are you?
Hi, was very happy to be here. I was pleasantly surprised by your invitation. It's been a while, yes.
Yeah, no, man. I follow your work. I follow your paintings. I've been following these postcards you made. I think you also did I saw you did I think one TV channel they broadcast. They did a broadcast with you the other day. I had a look at that, and that looked pretty stunning, man. And I was like, gotta get her on the podcast. My sister, let's start at the beginning, man. Can you just explain to my audience exactly where you're based, and a little bit about your work, and we'll just unpick it bit by bit after that.
All right. So my name is Mala Rama, as Wes says. I'm based in Seychelles, beautiful little islands, not far from you, from South Africa.
Not that far.
So yeah, not that far. And but I was born in Mauritius. My father is Mauritian and my mom is Seychelles. But at some point, I chose to be based here. I think because of, we can come to that, discuss about that later, but it's about also the inspiration here is amazing, the colors, the nature side of it. So it's very inspiring. So I chose to stay here and be based here. I am a watercolor artist. I have tried other mediums, to tell you honestly, but I think watercolor spoke to me and I just got stuck to it. But I also would call myself mixed media watercolor artist, but because I do try other mediums, incorporate them like acrylic ink. I love drawing. I love mark making. So there would be that a lot in my watercolor painting, which is not very the traditional kind of watercolor. The purest kind. I'm not into that. I more experimental. I try to incorporate different techniques in it. I have been, if you ask me since when I have been painting, I have been drawing as far as I remember, like 3 years old. Like, you know when you're a kid and your parents give you a little book that you like and you start drawing, copying and doing. This is how I started. Like I was copying, not too bad for a 3-year-old. So so it started like that. And then I did arts in college. I did a 2-year diploma in France, which was a fantastic experience. Like I had my first nude class, drawing class. Like I was like, what? That was fun. Like, coming from a small island, very conservative.
All of a sudden, oh my God.
And then I was like,
yeah.
That girl just came in the class, took off her clothes, and then I was like, really, this is happening? And then, okay, you get used to it. And it's kind of fun. It was
fun.
really good.
It can be fun.
Yeah. Good drawing techniques. I really learned it from France, like the expertise, to draw fast, quick drawing sketches. That was very good. I came back. Interestingly, I'm also interested in lots of things. I also have a degree in literature and languages. So I did that. I went into tourism industry. And then when I came here, I was in Ladik, one of the islands around here. I saw somehow an opportunity to get back to my art. Like there's a lot of tourists there, and nature is around. There's lots to paint and draw and depict. So I started my business was very small at that time. Yeah. So I started there. I started doing little mini watercolors, just selling, and it sold well. So I said, oh, okay, there's something there. Yeah.
Interesting.
But at that time,
No, continue.
At that time, I was doing only originals, and my business was not as it is today. And then this is it. I had that business, and then COVID came in.
Yeah.
So
let's stop there before we get to COVID.
All right.
Because I think that is such a poignant thing for the arts across the world. Actually, COVID has disrupted every artist I know that I spoke to on this platform in not necessarily always the worst ways, but it definitely disrupted movement. It disrupted processes, and it also what I've been noticing, because we're like 3.5 years after it, it's added another layer to people's work. People have either gone a bit more spiritual. I've noticed that in a lot of poetry, that a lot of people got really in touch with the spiritual side. Some. Yeah, well, I mean, it felt because also some artists I know also took time out in our lockdown to write plays, to finish their books, to finish sort of long-term projects that they've been working on. I spoke to a documentary maker, filmmaker that in that time in our lockdown they got to editing, which was a long process in filmmaking, and they finished it. So before we get there, let's just take a little step back to one of the things that I know about Seychelles is, firstly, the colors is quite extraordinary. And one thing what I noticed about your work is that there's a liveliness. You can almost smell the ocean. Sometimes you can almost smell the blood. There's a very fresh approach to your paintings. You also said earlier on that you're not a traditional watercolorist. One thing that I've
Mm.
noticed with watercolors is the colors are not really as strong and as fresh as, for example, like these big fresh
Mm.
oil paintings or acrylic or whatever. So, firstly, how can I ask this? Or let me sound like this, in being inspired by the landscape of Seychelles, why choose watercolors as your medium?
Um, Say it again. Why watercolor as
Yeah,
a
yeah,
medium
yeah,
for
yeah,
that?
yeah. Why? I mean, as opposed to acrylics or oil painting or
That's
charcoal.
a very interesting question. I think because of the fluidity and transparency of watercolor, it's very transparent, and there is light, like you can play along with the light with it. And that's why I find, maybe an acrylic artist will say something different, but for me, I find watercolor as a medium for Seychelles is perfect, because you can play along with the fluidity, with the splashes. Water moves. So and yeah, water moves. So and Seychelles is surrounded by water, blue water, turquoise sea, the sky. So you can definitely let your paintbrush play around with it and not just be static, or it's very fluid. And I try to bring that, to capture that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it comes through. It comes through for sure. Take us through your processes. How would you identify I'm going to be painting this, and how do you go about painting it? And take us through that process.
Um, okay. You have to understand that I'm also an entrepreneur. So
Yeah, yeah,
my
we're
art,
gonna get into
yeah,
that.
yeah. But just so that you
Okay,
understand the
okay,
process,
go
that
for
is
it.
also part
Go
of
for it.
the process of choosing, because I I I choose according to that entrepreneurship, because I would choose themes that would sell also. I love what I do, but I will also channel it so that it sells, so that I can say, okay, I'm an artist making money out of it. So the choice of my themes would go around those, like fauna and flora of Seychelles. So that would be the turtles, the birds, and endemic animals, black pigeons, all of that. The landscape of Seychelles. So that would be the first choice. I
Okay.
would take my pictures we can talk also how I'm trying to diversify that later.
Yeah, yeah. Please,
So
please go for it.
that's again.
Go for it.
But I am trying to diversify, and not because sometimes you working like in this structure, you can feel that you can get stuck a little bit in it, because you would want to explore something else, but you can't really, because that might not sell. So what I do is I have been launching inspirational quotes, for example,
Okay.
and in these quotes, I use Seychelles as a background. I use the sea. And they are selling. So I'm using my code, something that I like, and I am blending the entrepreneur aspect of it, of selling for tourists. So I put both together to work. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So yeah, you have to be street smart in that kind of business. Yeah.
Yep.
So my process, I would I draw myself. So I love drawing. This is a very meditative part of my work.
Sure.
So I would draw, and then from that, I decide. I use pen liners, different colors, gray, black, brown, or I would use my pencil as a pen liner. So I would do a first drawing, and then I will redraw on it, like in a stronger, using a stronger lead, like a 3B or a 4B, something like that. Yeah, using it as a pen, or yeah. And then I would choose, most of the time I'm mixing, I use acrylic ink also.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I do that because acrylic has a density sometimes that watercolor doesn't have.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking for that, I also use that. And I also use like glittery silver or gold, which some watercolor brands are doing that now.
Okay. Interesting.
Colero, there are a few. Yeah, they are doing that. But I stick to ink for now. Maybe I'll try later. So and there might be some collage, like if I'm doing a coco de mer, the endemic seed here, I would use collage in it. Or some birds, I can also put some collage. And then,
okay. Yeah, sorry. Continue. Sorry, I was just coughing.
Yeah, I would stick some collage, a newspaper. Most of the times in the collage, I would look like for something with a newspaper with like Seychelles written on it, typed on it. Like if you look in the collage, you will see Seychelles typed in it, or something specific to here. So yeah, and then and then the painting process comes. That's about it. If I'm doing bigger paintings, the process is slightly different because depending on the thickness of the paper, when you're using watercolor, if it's a thin paper, it buckles.
Yeah.
So I have to stretch a few times. That process is different. Yeah.
Okay. So just so this is 2 questions. Are you in your studio right now?
Yeah, my studio is in my living room. Wait.
Okay, excellent. I was going to ask if you could give us a tour.
Can we swap the camera? I don't know how to swap the camera, but
okay, lovely. If you can just pause there, I can see that. That's actually quite beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. Wait, I'll put that on.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm moving around.
Yeah, that's the joys of podcasting, is that these types of things make podcasting even more beautiful and original and personal.
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting.
Yeah,
Mala, this is beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And this is the table.
Yeah.
Wait, you can see here.
Okay. So a few things there that comes to mind. Firstly is the size of the work. So it looks, you mentioned that you look to see exactly what sells. So the size there of the works says to me that it's got this postcard, this postcard-esque type of style. So explain to me why, I guess, the economics behind that, and after that we'll get into the entrepreneurship. We'll talk about the business. But explain to my listeners why would you choose a smaller size? What market is were you selling to? And then after that, we'll jump into the entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's a great transition. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good transition. The Seychelles is the main source of revenue is tourism.
Yes.
So that's number one.
Yes.
And so when tourists travel, they want something small they can put in their bag, easy to carry, and not cumbersome at all. So normally the smaller ones sell very well. They go very well. Yes. And then of course, if you're selling bigger ones, like I do, bigger prints, like 38 by 56 or something like that, I would pre-roll it. I'll frame one already. I give to the shop, one is framed, the client can see it, and then I'll pre-roll the others. And so the client just take the rolled ones they put it in their bag. But most of the time I have observed it's the smaller ones that sell very well. So I have designed many products small so that they can sell.
Does the pricing also come into effect there? So will the smaller ones be priced less than the bigger prints and so forth?
Yeah, it would be, smaller ones would cost cheaper than bigger ones, definitely. But the thing that I've observed also is that let's say for bigger prints like 26 by 36, they have their time that they sell. So if it's not selling, it doesn't mean that it will not sell. It's not sometimes not the right clients at that time. It will sell, but it just at a different pace, or at a different moment, or peak season, peak season, different kind of clientele right now. So they will sell better.
Sure.
So, but yeah, you have to observe all of that and judge, okay, am I still gonna do them or not? I still do them because they sell, not at the same pace, but they sell. So
interesting, Mala.
yeah.
I'm just about to think just two things before I get into the entrepreneurship. You mentioned like these guys have different peak seasons, so my understanding would be that when the majority of the tourism or tourists are there. So a question on that is your whole business, and this leads to your entrepreneurship. Do you target those sort of periods when there are tourists? In other words, do you work, create the work before that, and when they are there, it's available. So that's the first question, and the second one is how do you sell them? So traditionally, artists have solo exhibitions or group exhibitions and so forth. How does that process work for you guys? Do you sell through to somebody, and then sort of like the third question after that is you interrupt. So after that you can just explain to us what the business is, what you registered as, and then we'll unpick that further.
Yeah, definitely peak seasons, you will sell more.
Sure.
Peak seasons here, for instance, is March, April. And
Okay.
then November, December, January. And because then we go into monsoon season. For example, in May, there is a lot of wind. Clients, not many clients, but these are the times that I will send more in my stock. Like,
Okay.
I know I will produce more and send more, because I know this is the time I have to be on point with my sales and not lose an opportunity. I definitely vary my deliveries, my orders in terms of the seasons. Yes,
Interesting.
I do that.
And your business, tell us a little bit about that. What are you registered as, and what's it called?
Here it is registered as craft. It's not craft, but it's registered as craft. I'm fine with that. Doesn't matter. It sells, it works, so I don't care. But it's registered as craft. It's a small business enterprise, very small one. There's only me, it's me. So what I do is I sell, mostly my selling point is I sell my art as prints. Prints sell, prints make money, you make money out of it. I used to focus on originals, yes, but I don't have time to paint that many originals to sustain that much of demand.
Makes sense.
The problem.
Yeah, makes sense.
I couldn't. The first shop that I put that I put my art was at the airport. The lady Josette, I gave her my art. I did only originals. Very nice. She was very happy. And then she told me, Mala, this is not possible. You have to get your prints done. We are not going to sustain. We're not. So she pushed me into, that was 2 years ago. She pushed me into prints. And I got a very good printer that I work with. We do fine arts, a good paper, qualitative paper.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
Yes, gicle kind. So your ink, everything should be archival. If you're selling the pricing that you want and the quality of the product that you want, it should be top notch. Yes. Top notch. So this is the kind of product that I sell my, a brand that you want to keep and sustain. That's my brand. So it's quality product.
Fantastic.
And the pricing, yes. So the pricing that I'm selling, the person knows, okay, this is a good quality product that they're buying. I also put a little note at the back. It's also very good. Don't be afraid to tell your clients what you're selling. So I put a little note at the back that inform them about what they are buying. You know, he looks at the back and say, oh, that's a gicle, that's a very good if he knows, if he's in an art, you know. And you also put like 100% cotton paper, archival ink, and it's done closest to the original. That is a
fantastic.
yeah. Yeah.
Just to give you some perspective, and that's also for my listeners, like to do prints from or digital prints from original work is an expensive venture, especially here in South Africa. It can be, and yeah, it can be pretty expensive, and like you say, with archival print, with cotton paper and stuff like that, the costs, and you don't really get that many good printers, so there's, you know, who do that type of work. But that's just to give like some perspective on the matter. But I find that super interesting, actually, on how you identified exactly the time of the year. Most artists I talk to on this platform, we sort of just go sort of with the flow. In
Okay.
in SA, to give you some perspective, in SA, we have like the Cape Town Art Fair, the Joburg Art Fair, and then so those are different times of the year. So I know some artists do major work for something like that, and then the gallery, you have various exhibitions. So we don't really have, yes, we have the peak season, like, which is summer, which is basically October, November, December, January. But that's just that I just find that dynamic super interesting, because yeah, for a bunch of reasons, and I sort of want to unpack some of it. My sister, firstly, thank you for sharing all of that. I just one more question on the company. You say, are you registered as a what they
Yes.
call it, a in South Africa we call them
Small.
SMEs, yeah, which is small business. Da, 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 da. So are you?
Yes, that's it. Same.
Oh, okay.
Same. Yeah.
Okay.
Same. As a
Okay.
small business enterprise,
Yeah.
small SME. Yeah.
SME. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you pay. Yeah.
Okay. And you say it's just you, nah?
It's just me.
What I'm, like I said, man, early on, okay, before we get to COVID, because I want
Okay.
to, there's something specific I want to talk about that. Just for my listeners, you know, on this platform, we talk a lot to entrepreneurs in the arts. So my sister, just explain to me, why, what prompted you to register the company? Was it easier to work for a company or work for your own? Or, and here's the other question: why, are you represented by an art gallery? If so, if not, why, why do the company and not the art gallery, or vice versa? Just explain to us that,
Yeah. Yeah.
the process.
I registered the business. I registered as a business because I normally, anyway, here, if you're starting to sell, doing craft and sell, the government would want some money out of it, and they want you to pay your tax, and they would encourage you to register your small business.
Sure. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. But I also wanted to do it for myself, like to be able to say I own a business, I am an entrepreneur, and I am serious about it, like starting to make steadfast, regular income every month. It's not just a hobby. Like, I don't, because not registering, you would do it as a hobby. I would like sell when I want or paint. And I didn't want that. I wanted to put pressure on myself. Okay, I have a business and I had to make it run, and I had to make it good and work. So that's why I registered it. That was the main reason. I wanted to start, and also I wanted to, I have always been an artist, but I wanted to to make an income and to make an income out of it, but also for myself,
Sure.
tomorrow I would like tomorrow, if I also have a full-time job. So if tomorrow I don't want to work anymore for my full-time job, I can quit. That's a sort of freedom that I have. I
Power to
can't,
that. I
I
love
can
that.
say I can
love
quit.
that.
I don't. Yeah, I
love
can
that.
quit, and I don't have I don't have to suffer and stay there. And I say today, if I don't want to work for my full-time job, I can quit actually. Yeah, but I like the
Fantastic.
job.
Are you represented by a gallery that side? By any art gallery?
Oh yeah, the gallery is an interesting talk. There was one that I was represented by. I don't want to mention the name, but there was one. I did make a few sales there, but I was not happy how they treated I don't know, in terms of logistics. I got some paintings, frames damaged. I was not too happy there. So for now, I'm not putting my art there. I've stopped. There's another gallery that has opened with a lesser commission because they do take
Yep.
high commission.
Yes.
Okay, 40% is still high, I think. So yeah. So they take 40%. So this one is taking they are taking 30%. So which is a fair deal, not bad. No, it's not too bad. So, and I recently just sold one painting there. They contacted me last week. So I think I will stick with them, because also there you can leave your painting for a while, whereas the other one, I had to remove the painting after it was just a short period of time, and just moving around the paintings, it's not good
The
for
logistics
you.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good. Yeah.
You see, Mala, I'm asking that because I'm interested, and this is sort of where the COVID-19 thing comes in.
Okay.
What I'm interested in now is, earlier on we mentioned that COVID has disrupted everything,
Yeah.
movement in particular, and now with this bullshit war in Ukraine, prices, fuel prices, everything, pretty much, cost of living is just really high. And an art gallery is a business like any other business, and their bottom line is also to make money. So what businesses sometimes do is they take those costs and they put it down on their clients, or in this case the artist. Um, so what I've been developing since then, and I've been discussing various artists on this platform, is how else can we use this digital platform for our own benefit, something that is designed sort of to match our various needs. Because you mentioned something early, interesting, with one gallery you have the artwork for X amount of time and you have to remove it. I've actually worked with galleries who do the same thing, and some others, give you a longer period. I've also noticed that with some galleries, look, I'm represented by somebody, and I know a few of my other friends as well that that have been represented by various galleries. So it works like this, where the gallery will focus on the artist who's making the most money, basically because of the overheads, etc. So
That is true.
it's that hierarchy type of thing, but that doesn't.
There is. Yeah.
That you see,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that the artist at wherever there doesn't have an existing market. So what we've been starting to develop to understand is design technology to put the artist in touch with their client, and you can have a one-on-one, and we're trying to make sure that the tech to develop with technology. So the eventual goal is to have a VR room where, like, you are sitting there, you can just broadcast and go and talk to multiple clients across the world, different time zones. Um, and have one-on-one with the artwork. So there's no need to have it in a physical space because the client just accesses everything through the device. And we're really pushing that narrative there. So off that, let me just ask you. Wait, because I think we're running out of time here because it's be a bit of a lengthy answer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you another link, and it will sort of wrap up the conversation there, and we can focus on what are the needs because of this COVID system of disruption. What are the various needs of the artists in Seychelles? In other words, what do you need the gallery to do for you, if that makes any sense? And moving forward, like new markets, I'm very interested in that. So are you satisfied with just selling to a group of tourists coming as one, X amount of times a year? Or are you interested in in other markets, for example, across the continent? And I'm talking Africa, or even South America. There's very interesting markets over there as well. India. Um, 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 I'm not so sure about China. It's a bit complicated to get into there, and Russia and places like that. So I'm I'm interested to know where does in your case, where does artists fit in this global in this let me call it virtual or digital world where we're all existing in right now. And yeah, I sort of want to just pick your brain bit by bit about that. So I'm gonna wrap. You have a question?
No, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna wrap up this session here. I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna send you another link, and we'll just continue the conversation after that.
All right.
I'll send you the thing
Okay.
within a few seconds. Actually, I'm all set up here. All right, thanks. Huh?
Okay.
Okay, so so guys, we're back running. So yeah, I mean, as you guys know, we just got hit by load shedding. So I had to just re a bunch of everything. And as you guys know, it's still it's Good Friday. So if any of my listeners are into that, happy Easter or whatever. Mala, we were talking just before the break there about how your operation works, how you create your work, where you sell it through, and who you selling to. So we sort of got that. So right in the beginning of the conversation, we mentioned how COVID has disrupted everything. So I'm in touch with a bunch of artists in Seychelles as well, and I remember during the hard lockdown, I had a conversation with a brother who was telling me how seriously it has affected artists there too, given that tourism, since the tourism was as strong, and that made complete sense. And I was also trying to find out what other platforms are they building, or what else are they doing to sort of because as you know, I'm sure there'll be another pandemic. Everyone is forecasting that in the not too distant future. And with all this bullshit wars and high fuel prices and stuff, traveling is becoming a lot more expensive. So my understanding is that some of these numbers will, drop gradually over time, and which raises this point is that it doesn't mean that all these things are happening. It doesn't mean that people still don't want our work. It's just that movement has stopped. So what we as Gallery 360 Africa has decided was to develop an app that is sort of to facilitate that. That's going to work off data. So all the artists' work that will be represented, we'll be collecting and analyzing that data, seeing exactly where the clients and where the people work, and sort of develop strategies around that. And just embrace technology in that sense, of having like virtual rooms eventually, have a more video based platform, sort of like not really like TikTok, more like Instagram, where you have, your stills, you can zoom in, but you have video too, where the artist can explain their work. So what we have so far is that phase one is now officially done. It took us 5 years.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
lots of everything happened also in between all of that. But the developers to actually develop the actual thing took about 2 years. Because I had to first get anyway. I won't explain the process. but what I found out is or rather another point I just want to add there is what we're also interested is establishing and creating new markets. So and new markets, I'm talking specifically to the so-called the rest of the world. So never mind Europe and the US. There's other markets in South America, for example, Brazil, Argentina, and the rest of the continent, even like Botswana, Zimbabwe. There's 54 countries on the continent, and even places like in India. So
Yeah.
how bad did COVID really affect you? And with how bad was, or rather, how did has the tourism since then? I mean, it's been 3 years now. Has the tourism picked up? Has it remained low, or how's that working?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, the app that you're working with, you've worked on, I think it's a brilliant idea. I think digital, we have to use it. We have to use all the how do I say, all the I lost my word right now. All the tools, yeah, all the tools possible, and I think digital is one of them, because I have done not a few mini sales actually through Instagram and Facebook. So the market is there, like, but we have, as you're working on, you have to explore it. Definitely, I am for digital in that way. Yes. With regards to COVID here, yes, well, as we know, it affected everywhere, in every single ways, in different ways, in crazy ways. It affected everybody. So here, mostly because tourism industry was #1 revenue, and a lot of artists like me, a lot of artists, they have their income through tourism. So definitely that was a big blow. But I would say after 2 years now, it has picked up well. Yes,
Okay.
it has. Yes, okay. It has picked up very well.
Okay.
So I would say since last year now, the tourism industry has been fluctuating as it was before COVID. So that is cruise ship, a lot of, and I'm also working now in fishing across the outer islands, so it has picked up a lot. So that is a good thing also for artists. Yes. Because I would say since last year, definitely COVID, no, but since last year I have started to sell again pretty well, like on a constant, regular, monthly basis. So that is a good indicator that, okay,
is a good indicator. That is a good,
it is a good indicator.
Just a few questions on that. Like, where would all these tourists be coming from? Would they be Asian, European?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Okay. Seychelles, it's mostly European on the main islands and inner islands. So Europeans would mean Germans. Germans buy a lot. They buy a lot. They buy a lot of paintings. Somehow they like art. They're Germans. French, I have got a lot of French clients. British also. French, English, British, and then not a lot of Portuguese or Spanish, not a lot of that, but mostly these. And then you have Russians, the tourism industry, Russians, Americans, yes, they spend a lot. Americans, yeah. Not a lot of Asian countries, like there are a few Chinese or Japanese, but not a lot. Not a lot.
Interesting. Yeah. I can actually relate to that too. In South Africa, those big same countries are the biggest. I think the Americans is a bit bigger here too. There's a lot of
Yeah,
interest, and I collaborate with a bunch of guys from that part of the world. Um, so based off that, man, do you think these markets are sustainable? Do you think are you okay with selling through to these markets for, let's say, the next 5, 10 years, or
mm,
if you and it's sort of a double-edged question. So, what other markets are you interested in? Um, um, what other markets are you interested in knowing and selling?
yeah. I understand your point. I don't think. I think. Oh, yeah, there's a talk about de-dollarization. There's a lot of talk about dollar losing
Yep.
its value. So you have to keep a little, a little antenna up there, and keep an eye on what's happening also, and look at China. Though I'm not sure, I don't know how much they are into art, but that is a market also to explore. I don't know honestly, or art, or what kind. I'm not sure. I don't have that kind of um but I think, I would think, because I'm trying to get myself into a few platforms this year. That's one of my objectives, not to stay only national. This is not a good strategy. You should be like a octopus,
Yeah.
tentacles everywhere.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you should like test a few things, and see what works or not. So this year, my plan was to actually go international, more international. So I have been working on my own website through Squarespace. Also, I was looking around for some online galleries,
Mm.
like Sachi, or Fine Art America. There are a lot of
There's a
these
few.
around, but
There's quite
I'm
a few.
looking, yeah, so I'm looking. You have to look also for the commission, how much commission they are taking, and then I have, that's the plan for this year. Like at least to test, maybe just put 3 paintings on them and see how it is, how it works. So that's my plan for this year, to go more international, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
On that point there, what we've noticed is, like you mentioned earlier on, that you've actually sold on Instagram and Facebook. Now, what these platforms do is, like, they're not really, they like to keep the user on their platform. So if there's links, to other, especially commerce pages, and so they're not really big on that type of thing. They like to keep you, for example, like I will share this podcast on my page and so forth, and those algorithms sort of only keeps it to a very few set of people,
uh
right? You
yeah,
need to
I
pay,
understand what you mean.
yeah, you need to pay them, and there's this processes to sort of make it make it bigger. So what one of our strategy is for us to use our current, and I mean ours as in the artists that we're looking to represent, not represent but feature. I think we only represent artists many years down the line. Um, is to use that social media network, and just to say, hey, there is a new network that exists. If you want to buy or chat to the artist or chat in detail, use this. And I'm trying to understand that whole thing there, and basically make it work. But I don't want to get into the technical side of that.
Okay, not yet.
Also, yeah,
Yeah.
not today's
Not
episode.
ready for that. Yeah.
Uh, and it's also something I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer. I have guys that stream that for me. I'm just learning like everybody else. So the other point I wanted to make is also what I realized. Um, all these new markets. I mean, all these old markets are, for example, Germans. I know Germans are also big on art, but I'm also interested in looking to see in exploring alternative markets on the continent, in Africa. I've
Yeah.
realized that one of the reasons why oh, all of a sudden it's gotten really dark on my side here. I don't know
A
what's
little
going
bit.
on with that. Yeah, it's enough light. Almost looks charcoal.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyway, I
Weird.
don't
But
know
I
what's.
used it. Yeah,
It's
it's
funny.
weird.
It's funny. It's really strange. I was saying that one of the reasons that we try to do is for us to come up with different strategies where we can sort of quote unquote school various and that's where the whole video based thing. So that's just giving you a sort of an idea of what we're working with and what we want to do. And when I say we, I'm actually being quite ambitious because right now it's still just me. It's still just me.
Oh,
There is people who have identified who I wish I do have a lady that's gonna help me with the curating, but that's a bit of a complicated issue. I won't get into it right now.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
But right now it's
It's
still just
you.
me. I'm saying we because I'm projecting. I'm
You're
projecting.
projecting. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So I'll definitely keep you up to speed with that. I'll definitely send you the as soon as we get into the testing phase,
Yeah,
which will be
sure.
um after the Easter weekend actually. So what I would suggest is for you just to be really honest and to see what else we could add to increase your experience, if you get what I'm trying to say. Because we one of the and it's also make another point, and this is sort of wrapping up. One of the things that I've grown very very weary of is that galleries work off the base of like, I have a certain market, I've been selling them for 25 years, I know what they want, I'm going to keep doing that. I think people's habits have changed. I think people's
True.
movements have changed. People's bottom line, their money has changed.
Yeah.
And I think we should, as artists, should adapt to that. There's also this thing of a lot of artists, not artists, people working from home, this whole remote working thing, like here in my sister's place. Um, and so art sort of is taking on a different function, where it was just like a very pretty thing. But then I use since your house is now not just a house anymore, it's your office, it's your this and this and that. I think art has taken on a different form, and I think artists should be able to adapt to that. And in be able to adapt to that, we need technology to facilitate that. And I also think it's interesting because it will give us new markets, which is something I'm really excited and very passionate about. So Mala, in closing, my sister, can you just tell my listeners what are you currently working on? In other words, what body of work? Where can anybody
Okay.
get hold of any of your work? Yeah, yeah.
I am currently working on a new project for a lady, Josette, actually. I'm mentioning names, but anyway, it's okay. We work very well together. She's the one that has the shop at the airport, and we are working on a new project on an exclusive collection for her shop, anything to do with the sea. So I'm very excited about that. Octopus, some whale sharks, some stuff like that that I have never done before. So that is good also for my creativity, not doing the same stuff all the time. So I love that. So I'm working on that for now. And then I'm also working on a few big originals, because big originals are a little bit more difficult to sell. So
Yep.
I'm working on that, and also trying new, that's my challenge this year. Yes, my challenge for trying new things is to sell on try at least one or two online galleries platforms, just because I haven't tried. You have to try, and
Yes.
if it doesn't work,
You're
then
right. Yeah,
it's because I haven't, not yet. So I want to try that, just to get myself out there a little, international, not just stay in your own little bubble. It's not good. So it's good to try new things, and I want to try that. And this year, that is, and also my website, it's almost finished, so I'm still working on the shop. the shop part. So I'm planning to launch my website also
Fantastic.
this year. Yeah, that's also with regards to galleries. I'm not, to tell you honestly, I have canceled any. I did just one a few months ago, earlier this year, with the Val de Pré, the collective gallery that is open now. I went there for the opening just now, but this is on consignment, is there. But I was invited to do a solo exhibition, which I canceled.
Oh,
I canceled, yeah, I did, because to tell you honestly, there is the difficulty for watercolor artists. You have to frame them. So
yeah,
once you
such an
frame them,
expensive
you
thing.
cannot. It's a headache. Huh? It's a headache.
Mm,
And
mm.
I would be doing like a collection of 10, 12, and then we've framed. And then if they do not sell,
Yeah,
what am I going to do with it? It's a terrible,
no,
yeah. So
that's a very interesting thing, because I think that does the fact that art needs to be framed and needs to have this pomp and ceremony beforehand is such an
yeah,
unnecessary expense, because
uh,
all you basically, I mean, it's really framing. I find it very unfair that framing gets passed, that cost gets passed down on artists, because framing is ridiculously expensive. So
it is.
the pomp and ceremony before an exhibition, where you got to get people food and wine, I think that is such an ancient type of a way of doing things. I can tell you now, every single artist will be much more interested in creating sales, as opposed to, getting drunk with a few friends and taking a few photos for the newspaper or for social media. You can do that on multiple platforms any time of the day.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
thinking that we are in a position now. That's hence why, part reason, why I went this direction, is to create this platform, is to make a direct a link. So we exhibit the work, which is done in a very professional and a very nice way. You can, the buyer can browse and so forth, and then buy and then sell, as opposed to opening of exhibitions. I've grown very, very, very tired
Many,
of that. I mean,
yeah.
the fun, the social part of it is cool, but
Yeah.
I'm in my
But after
40s.
that,
Yeah, I'm in my 40s now. I can go party anywhere else. I don't need to do it, and it doesn't need to be on my expense. I find that such a the artists all of a sudden have to get a couple of thousand of rand just for booze. Nah, I'd much rather treat it myself. No. So I'm actually glad that you're on that link with me. Your thoughts are very much in line with what we're doing. So that's fantastic.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so in
yeah.
closing, what will your website be called?
Oh, okay. My website is still not online, but you can see me on Instagram,
Yeah, where else can we get?
malarama.art.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
your Instagram, I know, Facebook, Twitter. Where else are you available?
Facebook also, Mala Rama Art. On Instagram, it's malarama.art, and on Facebook, it's just Mala Rama Art. So it's the same, yeah.
Yeah, to the listeners, I
Thank
suggest everybody gonna have a look at the pages. Mala, I think your work is fantastic. I think your work is fresh. It is very different.
Thank you. Such a lovely chat. We should do it more often.
Yes, I will be in touch with you once the app is done, so you can have a test and probably have a little chat then. And I will publish this episode tomorrow. Actually, I'll work on it.
Tomorrow. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and I'll send you the link and all of that and all of that.
Perfect.
My sister, enjoy the rest of the Friday, and thanks for coming through now.
You too. Thanks.
One love. Bye.